All right. I just had dinner. I just had an amazing pasta, and I wanted to talk about this book. Whoa! Look how thick that fucking book is. It's like if you hold it close enough to the camera, it's like thicker than my head. Wow. But it is this way at least. But it's a book. It's about nothing but a good time, as you can read it there. It's about 80s hard rock. So 80s hard rock explosion, and it says the uncensored history of the 80s hard rock explosion. There's actually also, you might have seen it on Paramount. It's a series. I think it's a three-part series where it's based on this book. So it's in the same vein that they sort of like similar storyline. They sort of cover it in a similar way, like from the birth, like when the birth of the hard rock, say, and no, I don't mean birth of hard rock, but I mean that next wave where like a lot of the record companies or whatever that were established at the time, they considered the music that a lot of the guys were into, like Motley Crue's music, Twisted Sister, Quiet Riot. They considered it dinosaur music, like the 70s, because at the time the in thing was um, like new wave music with synthesizers, and they still used guitars, but the music was a bit more refined, and but actually punk as well. There was punk music, but rock and roll in the sense that like like flashy, like the rock star, the guitar playing, um, like that kind of stuff was seemed like yesterday's music. But it shows that like bands like say Van Halen. I think you can see Van. Oh, there's David Lee Roth there, Van Halen. How they were kind of the guys who not only were good role models for the 80s style, the glam metal style, with Eddie's playing, he's amazing playing the guitar tone and all that stuff, but they were kind of, um, yeah, sort of taking it to a different level than what a lot of the 70s music was like, um, with Kiss and bands like that, Black Sabbath and Akadaka, AC/DC, Led Zeppelin, and people like that. That was kind of like a new template that was inspiring, apparently. Um, but I think at the time there were probably a lot of people doing that kind of stuff, but they were just the ones that Van Halen were the ones that broke through. Um, and then for a while, it seemed a bit bleak, like a bit quiet for a while. But ironically, Quiet Riot, I get goosebumps reading this part because there's a part where they talk about Quiet Riot, and that's when, like, I'm getting the goosebumps. I feel it in my face right now. Um, I don't know if I'll be able to find it right now, but like while I'm on the video, but yeah, it talks about how like, oh yeah, feel the noise, feel the noise. I'm feeling the goosebumps even more. Feel the noise is the part where they talk about how um, finally they get a record deal. Like I know I'm not like all about mainstream music, but it was just cool like to bring this music to the maybe to the mainstream so people can find it. That's cool as well. Like it doesn't mean that you have to follow mainstream music, but sometimes it helps you find new music that you might like, And it just talks about Feel the Noise, how that was that cover song helped break through metal into the like, just blew up from there, like in the early 80s. Um, After that, it was a bit quiet for a while when Van Halen got their break. But yeah, it's a really cool book. I saw it in the bookshop once a couple of years ago, and I was like, "Oh, that's cool," because I love 80s hard rock, and some of the bands I didn't know about, and it helped me like look up new music, like inspired by what bands they talked about in the book. I'd go, "Oh, what's their music?" I want to see, I want to hear some of that, and yeah, and then it talks about the peak of the 80s, like, and then when it died off a little bit, um, partly because some bands were not really, they weren't really on top anymore, on top of their own game, but the trends changed a little bit over to grunge music. Um, and yeah, So, but the cool thing is, like, I think if you look at the bigger picture and you don't zoom in so much on that period when they were just completely fucked over by their record companies that just completely like said fuck off. We want grunge music now, mate. That's what's in. Sorry, that's showbiz. Yeah. But the cool thing is, I'll try and say it more Bugs Bunny. Sorry, that's showbiz. That's showbiz, man. Yeah, boom. But the thing is, um, after the 2000s, so maybe 10 years later or something, a lot of these bands were seen as like legacy bands. So, and they're going stronger now, and if not earning more now with their tours and stuff than they may have back in the day, like in the 80s, at least for some of them. It's probably more viable now to do that type of music than even in the 80s, apparently. I may be wrong about that, but at least they don't have to go back to a different job. But they can keep playing music and doing what they love. Like, yeah, that's cool. So the thing with this book, I know we're up to 6 minutes now, but I read it once and I really loved it. And then the second time I was reading it, I started reading about maybe a year later again because I was like, oh, I like that book. There's so much that they cover that I want to. Oh, and there's some cool photos in the middle. Photos of some of the bands, like, yeah, like the color photos and stuff. And yeah, so just to wrap it up, I got into what people call true metal, so Manowar and like music like that, Judas Priest, Iron Maiden, stuff like that. And I started to abandon glam metal a little bit. Like I started to think it was a little bit not serious enough for metal. Like like it was a bit more like sort of rock and roll, a bit more fun, talking about ladies and stuff like that. Not really like intense stuff. Um, so I was halfway through reading it and I thought, I don't want to read this anymore. Like this is fake metal. But then I think like I stopped listening to the true metal as much, and then I was like, hang on, like this was probably just a phase where I started favoring the true metal, even though I like some of it still, but I was really going deep into it, trying to like listen to it and yeah. But then um, I think naturally I just went back to what my main taste was, which was the sex, drugs, rock and roll style, which the glam metal was. I know they call that not true metal, but fuck them. Like no, I know I don't mean fuck you, but like fuck them as in like do do what you want to do. Not everyone's gonna like it, but fuck it, do what you like to do, and uh, the, so then I kept reading the book, and then I went back listening to what I loved, which was the 80s glam metal. Even though some of those true metal people will be like, oh fuck glam, but a lot of people like who like the true metal, um, they listen to glam anyway. Like you'll see some at the same gigs, like you'll see them at the true metal gigs, like say a Manowar style gig, or Hammerfall or things like that. And then you'll go to like a glammy one, a bit like say um, the guy from White Lion, Mike Tramp. You'll go to his event and you'll see like the true metal people there too. So a lot of the crowds cross over, but you might see the majority of the true metal people. You probably won't see most of them at the glam style ones. But yeah, this video has gone on long enough. I really love this book. So if you haven't read it or watched the 3-part series, it's a cool, like not just, oh, I like history, but yeah, it's that too. But it's like you get to, it's like you're reliving it, even though I didn't live it at the time, but you feel it. Like you feel like, oh, is this what it was like to be a part of it at the time? If you missed it, or if you did live it but you want to relive it, yeah, it's I don't know if that's the case because I never fucking lived it. So but I feel like it really takes you into a cool vibe. I love it. And Motley Crue, like I'll talk about in the next video, maybe reading what's that called? The Dirt book. That was fucking good too. Like if I think of 2 or 3 of my favorite books on rock and roll that I've read is Nothing But a Good Time, definitely The Dirt, So I read The Dirt after this because the stories were so funny with Motley Crue, and it's not funny but shocking that I went, oh fuck, I want to borrow The Dirt from my friend Mitch, and yeah. So I just wait 1 second. It said my phone was overheating. Fuck. Maybe talking about all this metal, it was making the phone hot. You know, it just couldn't take it anymore. But yeah, The Dirt was amazing, and it covers a bit of like Ozzy Osbourne in that as well. And then I thought, yeah, it talks a lot about Ozzy Osbourne here. He's one of the funny characters in this. And also, oh yeah, Ozzy Osbourne, by the way, yeah, fuck, he died. That sucks. But I'll just pause it for a second and grab my Ozzy Osbourne book. 1 sec. I read this one and fuck, it's a great book. Like, yeah, I definitely recommend this. Can you recommend me any more books if I liked this kind of stuff? If this is my vibe, you know, like if I liked reading these two and The Dirt, can you tell me, like, if I liked reading Ozzy Osbourne and all that stuff, can you tell me any books I'd like besides that? Thanks. Sick. You give it a try. Have a good one. Well, I tried to keep this video short, but it's sometimes too hard when you love what you're talking about, love the topic or whatever. All right, see you later. Bye bye.